Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip-hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7 on hot7025fm.com.
Yo, it's Tavon Greatness Patterson. Want to listen to Hot 7025 on the go? Download the Hot 702.5 app on the Apple Store or Google Play Store if you got an Android like me.
Let's get it.
This is Hot 702.5.
Hi. Hey.
What's up? All your favorite artists.
Check it out. Say my name. DJ Khaled. This is Mila J. Bruno Mars.
On hot7025fm.com.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Cheryl Underwood, and you're tuned into the hottest news station on the planet, Hot 702.5.
Come talk shit and politics with Kristie J from the Chisholm Report every Saturday at 10 a.m. on hot7025fm.com.
This is Kristen Gamer, and you are tuned into my mom, Kristie J.
Tune in now on hot7025fm.com.
Yeah, election time's coming. Who you gonna vote for? Yeah, if I was president, I'd get elected on Friday, assassinated on Saturday, buried on Sunday, they go back to work on Monday. If I was president, yeah. Instead of spending billions on the war, I can use that money so I can feed the poor, 'cause I know some so poor. When it rains, that's when they shower, scream and fight the power. That's when the vulture devours. If I was president, I get elected on Friday, assassinated on Saturday, buried on Sunday, they go back to work on Monday. If I was president, yeah. I know some soldiers that sleep but they can't dream, wake up with screams, sounds of M16. So take this medal of honor for your bravery. I wish you the best, kid, you and your family. If I was president, I get elected on Friday, assassinated on Saturday, buried on Sunday, they go back to work on Monday. If I was president, but the radio won't play this. They call it rebel music. How can you refuse it? Children of Moses, tell the children the truth. It's not all that bling that's diamond. Tell them the truth. Most of y'all wear cubic zirconium. Tell them the truth, yeah. Your soul is worth more than diamonds.
If I was president, all blacks, I have reparation, no segregation, feed the nation so there's no famine. Muslims, Jews, Christians, with all whole hands every week on the beach. Party by the sand, word up, take trips on Air Force One. Don't need to bring the homeless with no sneaks to Air Force One. Better schools in the hood, better teachers for the classes, making money, paying no tax. Find the best scientists, tell them come up with an answer. I want the cure for AIDS and cancer, but I gotta watch my back. Snipers on the hill with the steel, waiting to Jig F
I was president, I get elected on Friday, assassinated on Saturday, buried on Sunday, they go back to work on Monday. If I was president, I feel the rain coming, let me play my guitar for them right now.
Let's go.
Refugees,
Good morning. Thank you for coming in. This is the Chisholm Report, and my name is Kristie J. I am here to make sure that you guys are aware of what's happening with our government and politics around the country, locally, and also internationally. I am a graduate of Southern University, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Go Jags. I do have a political science degree there, and I'm very passionate in regards to us knowing what is going on with our country, what is going on with the policies, and how they can or cannot help us. So this show is interactive. I would love for you to give a phone call, 702-551-5261. I also would like to extend an invitation to anyone political here in Las Vegas, Nevada, or anywhere around the country that would like to sit and talk shit and politic with me. You can always reach me at Kristie at hot7025fm.com. That is where you can reach me to be able to set a interview in regards to politics, or if you're looking for advertising and marketing, you can also do that same email for the radio station. If you are looking to be able to boost your business here on hot702.5fm.com, we are more than welcome to be able to help you extend that. Okay, so just to kind of give a just about what's going on, February was Black History Month. We did have a couple of different celebrations here in Las Vegas, which were actually really, really nice celebrations. There were a lot of people that came out, a lot of resources out there that came out to help with jobs. They also gave out food. They gave out winter gear. They gave out jackets, blankets, hats, and things like that. And we would love to keep seeing these things happening. So always, 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 let us know when you're having community events and things like that here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and all through the country, so we can be able to help you promote that. Okay? So, you guys, this has been a week. Okay? I start a new journey next week, which I'm very excited about. And you know that next week is the last week before the kids get out of school for spring break here in Las Vegas. I hope you guys have some type of additional activities that you can be able to get your kids into. I will be dropping some on my page later today. Just regular park and rec stuff, little camps and things like that, basketball camps, baseball camps, and football camps that's going on. They also have some dance classes for the week at Doolittle and everything else. So if you are interested in being able to find something for your kid to do for the week, that they are out of school, go ahead and look at my page. It is a great resource for you to be able to get that information. It is also on the Chisholm Report with Kristie J. So if you look for Chisholm Report with Kristie J, you'll see a page. Go ahead and like that page and become a part of the community. And so, you guys, I appreciate you guys coming in and sitting with me. This is like my therapy, okay? So to be able to sit and kind of give you a just or even a better way to look at the policies and stuff that they're putting out. And to be honest, one of the clips that I have that I want to go to is talking about here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And if you're from here or even been here, just started living here, you know that we have a very large homeless community. And it's very tragic. You end up seeing how people go from paycheck to paycheck and how one paycheck could land you on the street. If no one has been able to witness that, literally here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the pandemic, you saw people go from being able to be stable in a home or stable in an apartment or whatever to entire families being put on the street and no resources for them to be able to fix that situation. And so, make sure you guys, let's go ahead and take a look at this clip that we got going, and that way you can understand where I'm coming from.
Democrats have changed a bill making its way through the Nevada legislature that would have initially allowed a person to sue over private property. 8 News Now investigator David Charnes breaks down the debate over the Homeless Persons Bill of Rights.
This proposal is among the bills with the most public comments so far this session. Most things in this homeless Bill of Rights aren't controversial at all. It's symbolic, saying those experiencing homelessness have rights to dignity, medical treatment, to not be discriminated against by an employer because they don't have a permanent address. Another part says a homeless person can sue somebody who violates those rights. Bill sponsor, Democratic State Senator Dallas Harris, says the goal is to make sure the homeless population knows they have rights like everybody else. Republicans say there's no need to legislate that.
It is designed to let the homeless people of Nevada know that here in this state, they are entitled to the same rights as every other resident of this state. No more and no less. And I really want to emphasize the no less.
I don't know how you can legally force dignity and respect into the law. I understand the concept, but do we have laws now that we're trying to change that deny them dignity and respect?
Several public commenters said they didn't want to see Nevada or Las Vegas turn into a city like San Francisco, which of course is dealing with a spike in homelessness. A census here last year found more than 5,000 people experiencing homelessness in shelters and streets across the Las Vegas Valley, with concerns that number is growing. Now, this Senate bill had its first public hearing Friday. Of course, with 3 months left in the session, it has a long way to go, and it's unclear what its next steps will be. Near Desert Inn in Paradise, I'm David Charnes, 8 News Now.
All right. Okay, guys. So I just wanted to, first of all, with the asshole that said, do we have laws right now that's keeping them from doing? Yes, like loitering laws. Okay. When you don't have anywhere to go, I get so mad at people when they mess with elderly, homeless people, children, things like that. If you don't have anywhere to go, okay, and you're trying to sit in a library or in a grocery store just to be able to get cool or whatever the case may be, and they're kicking them out. They're kicking them out of casinos. They kick them out of the bus stations. They put like pins and stuff like that where they can't lay down on the bus stop. It bothers me because I saw a video not too long ago of this man, and he was in New York, and he was saying him being out there shaking a cup every day is embarrassing to him, because if he tried to get a job, he couldn't because of his appearance, because he has nowhere to go get washed up clothes or anything where he can be able to settle his mind to be able to get into a job. And he said the person told him to go get a job, you bum. And I'm about to start crying. He said, I'm not a bum, I'm a human being. And that meant so much, because you never know how people end up out there. Every homeless person you see out there is not lazy, is not trying to live off the system, is not just a bum. Okay, it's a lot of homeless people out there that go to work every day. They just don't have enough money for housing. There's a lot of homeless people that are out there because their families can't afford to take care of them anymore, and they don't want to be a burden on people. There's a lot of homeless people out there because the program that they were in for their mental health closed, and they have nowhere else to go. So it's hard for me when I'm seeing people walk up and down the street. I remember a couple of weeks ago, I was talking about a woman, and she was out there, and she was trying to cross the street. She had all this stuff, and they were honking at her, and she had 2 kids, like one that could not walk and one was barely walking. She had these bags and stuff, and she's trying to pull these stuff across the room, and they honking because I guess they just got somewhere to go, that they need to be there 10 seconds faster, right? And she gets across the street, she pulls this stuff up to the gate, and to be able to get her stuff together, she had to lay a blanket down for these kids to be able to sit down so she can readjust herself and get them. And she was so tired that she sat down. It took everything in me, not for me to lose it, but for me to make sure that they at least had some pizza. Let me go grab them some pizza. Let me get them some waters from this store real quick. Let me tell her where I'm going so she'll know where I'm going. Let me run back to the house to see if I have any additional sweatsuits or jackets or socks or anything else that could help her, and to put a little bit of money in her pocket. you know, and like this is what we should do if we're going to ever build up our own communities. It's just, it's hard. So here in Las Vegas, they're trying to be able to say that the homeless people have rights too, okay? And that they shouldn't be shooting them with high pressure water that they use to do to put out fires on the sidewalk and wetting up their stuff, throwing their stuff out into the garbage can because they're not there or whatever, and they're throwing like their IDs and birth certificates, the stuff they need to be able to get resources, to be able to get better. They're throwing all that stuff away. So I hope you guys look into it. That bill is a Senate bill that they are producing, presenting, and it is 142. Okay, and it's called the Homeless Persons Bill of Rights. In between that, I also want to say for the students and stuff like that, there is a program out there called PAPER. It is a 24-hour, 7 days a week online tutoring program that started for the pandemic. There is funding there for your kids to be to do online tutoring. And they can utilize this at any time. And so if they're doing a project or they're doing a problem that you can't help them with, they can go on to what is called Page. And you can find this information on the CCSD engagement student program, Advantage program. And you just look up tutoring resources. It is paid through the system, so you do not have to pay for it. It is free for the students, okay? Also, I just want to also say that there's, we have a bill right now. Well, actually, let's go ahead and talk about this. So the unemployment, during the pandemic, you know, everybody got the unemployment, and they were trying to make sure that people can stay afloat with the additional money that was coming from the unemployment. Well, they're saying that they overpaid everybody, and that people are now starting to get bills of like $30,000 of overpayment in unemployment. Let's go ahead and go into that clip and see what's going on with it.
During the height of the pandemic, many Nevadans turned to unemployment for help just to get food on the table.
DETR, or the Department of Employment, Training and Rehabilitation, is the office responsible for verifying and handling those claims. New tonight, 8 News Now investigator David Charn shows us how they made some pricey mistakes.
Overall, how much money do you owe DETR?
Almost $30,000.
$30,000 Philip Daniel isn't getting from DETR, but money they want him to pay them.
When I applied, they gave me the money, so I assumed, okay, everything's good.
Daniel applied for both state and federal benefits amid the coronavirus shutdown in 2020.
What did you have to prove to them?
I gave them a tax return.
He says within weeks, he was receiving a few $100s to get by.
Living expenses, rent, food.
But it's not like you were out buying a car.
No, absolutely not.
But then the emails started.
At that point, I thought it was either a glitch in the system or a scam.
It wasn't a scam, but a demand. Daniel is one of tens of thousands of Nevadans who now owe money back.
That's a lot of money to overpay somebody. How does that even happen?
There was a lot of weeks that were paid out. That adds up quickly.
Chris Sewell is DETR's new director, brought in under Governor Joe Lombardo.
We're in a lot better shape than we were a few years ago. I think everyone understands that. Are we out of it? No.
DETR is facing a 6-month backlog for current unemployment claims. As employees work to get people money, a whole other team is fielding calls from people like Daniel trying to keep the money they have. The 8 News Now investigators learning the department sent out more than 84,000 PUA overpayment notices. PUA, or PUA, Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, was a federal program enabling states to give benefits to the self-employed or gig workers.
How does someone get overpaid for unemployment?
They entered something wrong. They didn't enter their correct wages correctly, or something along those lines, something very simple.
Those owing the state money can appeal.
For those people, I'm glad we got them the money. But if there was a mistake made, we also need to correct that.
But some overpayments are fraud. DETR estimating it gave out more than $640 million in fraudulent payments from both state and federal coffers.
Oh, it's not acceptable. I'm embarrassed.
Do you understand the frustration from people who feel like they weren't listened to for so many months, and then they finally get a paycheck and it's wrong?
I understand the frustration of, one, that. I understand the frustration of not being paid timely, and it's not acceptable. And we are going to correct it.
Daniel says he finally got through to Dieter, but his appeals were all denied. He'll pay back the money month by month, but never got an answer as to why their mistake is costing him.
Do you think they should have looked at all that stuff before they paid you?
Obviously.
Dieter has recovered more than $100 million in fraud, including some overpayments. We asked how much they think they overpaid those tens of thousands of people, and they did not have an estimate for us. I'm David Sharns, 8 News Now.
Stop what you're doing.
So, two things. One is, that's not my fault. Second thing is, where did this additional extra $30,000 come from? Okay, because I know that there was a setup for you to get your regular unemployment, which is you paid into as a taxpayer. You paid into that unemployment for you to be able to access if you were needing it. Then there was pandemic funding that was paid additional, okay? And I don't see anybody that was just making buku amount of money nowhere. So I'm just very I'm curious of where exactly did the overpayment go, and how is it hitting the little people and not the bigger people? Okay, so that was one of the things I saw in there. I was like, man, this can cripple people. You know, this is just like that we were talking about the PPP and talking about how PPP was going to keep people from having additional subsidies and stuff like this. And then this additional up payment that they're saying that you guys owe back. Is this going to affect the next year, not this year, but next year's income taxes or whatever the case may be? We're already at the debt ceiling. How does this play in your money being given back to you as a taxpayer? Okay, so then along with this, Nevada is also proposing a bill to limit Nevada residents with their water. Okay, so being a local here of Las Vegas, Nevada, we've always had, especially older houses, you see that they have like the grass in the front yard, the big backyards and stuff. So they started doing like initiatives or trying to get people to go to the desert landscaping type of landscape, you know, trying to get people to be to put the rocks and the cactuses and stuff like that in the yards so it doesn't take up so much water. But then it makes me wonder, like, okay, if they're doing that, but then you have all of these fountains and water shows and additional things that are on the Strip. Like you had the volcano at the Mirage, you have the water show at the Bellagio, you have all of the fountains and stuff like that inside of the Forum Shops and the Caesars. You know, they tried to do this a couple of years ago of limiting people and telling us around what time of day you can actually water your lawn. But what does that do to the consumer and the person that purchased their home and wants grass? Okay, so I do have a clip for that, and that clip kind of explains what goes on with this water shortage that we're having here in Nevada.
More water. Nevada lawmakers have proposed woodlands who used to Shakira Hans reports on the.
After 20 years of us fronting her home, Michaeline Bilbray has replaced her entire front yard with artificial turf.
My family moved here in the 40s. So to have to remove the grass, you know, was hard.
Ripping up the grass was a bittersweet moment for Bilbray. Still, she wants to do her part to save water. For Valley residents, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has incentivized grass removal by paying them to remove it. Bronson Mack with the SNWA says the average household in Southern Nevada uses 10,700 gallons in a single month, or 130,000 gallons a year. He says that's pretty good conservation. Still, Max says 20% of their customers use about 40% of water, and that's why the SNWA supports Assembly Bill 220, sponsored by Nevada's Committee on Natural Resources, with its provision to allow the agency to cut off higher water users.
Southern Nevada Water Authority's Board of Directors has the ability to limit residential, single-family residential homes to only half an acre-foot of water per year.
If AB Bill 220 becomes law, the tighter water restrictions will ensure Nevada can conserve and preserve even more of its already reduced share of the Colorado River water.
Our conservation efforts have continued to allow us to be able to meet our community's water demands without making any significant changes to our quality of life. And AB 220 will help ensure that we can continue to meet those community water demands going forward.
For 13 Action News, I'm Shakira Hawkins.
All right, so just kind of giving you guys a heads up on that. If you are a homeowner or a part of like a HOA or something like that, these questions will come up at these next meetings, and you want to be prepared to be able to say if you want your grass or if you want to be able to go to the desert landscaping. I know that they were given an initiative in giving up to $5,000 to be able to change your front yard into desert landscaping. So look into that and see if that's something that can be able to benefit you and be a resource to you or someone in your family. So just kind of giving an idea of what is happening here locally with in Nevada with that. So there's another bill that they are trying to present, okay, to the Senate in regards to West. So there's a new bill that they're putting out for people who are terminally ill to be able to still have the right to receive treatment even if they don't have the funding for it, to not be put out on the streets if they are trying to pay for their treatments and they don't have money for their residents or utilities and things like that. I think that is a great idea because a lot of me being there when my mom was passing away, okay, and seeing how she was still stressed about it, going into chemo, going to work every day, still trying to make sure that we had a good high school years, childhood years, and still trying to pay the bills all at one time. The stress of that, I believe, had something to do with how the cancer progressed in my mother. If she didn't have the stress of like, okay, well, they know that I'm sick, so while I'm sick, they're going to be able to, give me a break with the bills, and make sure that I'm okay without my light bill going off or my water bill being cut off or being kicked out or evicted from my apartment while I'm going through chemo. I believe this is a great idea, and I hope that they get this all the way through because that is ridiculous for a person to have to sit and deal with that. And I've seen that. I've seen these stories. I've sat down with people and held their hand while they were talking about them being put on the streets. Once again, homeless rights, put on the streets, and they are in the middle of going through chemo, and no resources to be able to help them. Nothing else other than, call 211 or do you have a family member that you can live with? And at these days, it's hard to be able to find family that actually care about you to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to be there for you and through this. Everybody's going through stuff. So I want us to go ahead and watch this clip and it's called The Right to Try. It's the bill for chance at treatment.
Vegas lawmaker says a bill to try to save lives is very personal. It's called the Right to Try bill for those who've been told they don't have long to live.
My husband last year was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. The doctor told us it was terminal. Mid-May, he did announce to me that my husband probably wouldn't make it till 4th of July.
To save her husband's life, Assemblywoman Heidi Kasama of Las Vegas District 2 says she, quote, moved mountains to get him the best treatment possible at the comprehensive cancer centers. He is now cancer-free. She says she wants others to have a fighting chance through AB 188, the Right to Try bill.
So it wasn't just blanket drugs for cancer. They worked with his genetics. We should be able to have that personal decision if we want to try something.
In 2015, the legislature passed a first version of the Right to Try bill. It allowed Nevadans who were terminally ill to seek drugs in Phase 1 trials, very early in experimental stages and years away from FDA approval. Other states have followed Nevada's lead in recent years. Kasama's bill would expand on a new horizon in research, clinical trials for an individual based on your DNA.
Right now, what we're seeing is our treatments have changed because now we're doing targeted treatments to one person with their genetics and their DNA, which we didn't really have so much before. Patient has to have consent, and we are relieving the doctors, the clinics, and the hospitals of any liability because everybody understands that this is experimental, but it is saving lives.
All these trials, Kasama says, are FDA approved. She hopes lawmakers can consider this bill to give others a chance.
But it has been quite a journey. It's been a very personal journey. Just like my personal story, why don't we want everybody to have a chance like that?
And I totally agree with her. She wanted to make sure that he had the best care. She wanted to make sure that he had, that he was stress-free, that he had a good meal prep, like his nutrition, everything. And that should be a right for every taxpaying American. And if you go into the store and you buy something and it says it's $1 and you end up paying $1.19, you are a taxpayer. Okay. So, it's unfortunate that we have to deal with, so many people having to deal with like the stress of regular life while you're sitting there trying to fight for your life is something crazy. So you guys go ahead and look into that. And that, once again, that's the TRY bill, the Right to Try bill for chance at treatment. Okay. So nationally, okay, so we are dealing with a couple of different things. We have what's happening with the Jim Crow laws that they are doing in Mississippi. But I want to before we go into that, I want you to actually know what the 14th Amendment actually is, okay? And then once we watch the video and they tell you what it is, then I want to be able to tell you also how they were able to kind of make this, kind of make it work for them. So everybody knows that the 13th Amendment was to abolish slavery. The 14th Amendment was to be able to give rights, okay, to naturally born citizens here in America, United States. But then there's some back stuff on the back of there that makes slavery still legal. So let's go ahead and listen to that.
After the Civil War, many states passed civil rights acts that granted the rights of citizenship to blacks. Some countries believed unless there was federal protection, those state laws could be easily overturned. That's why they proposed the 14th Amendment to the Constitution.
Unlike the law of Dred Scott, which says that people of African descent, whether they were slave or free, can't be citizens of the United States. Now the 14th Amendment says that everybody born or naturalized in the United States is a citizen of the United States and entitled to the equal protection of the laws.
The amendment also barred former members of Congress who'd been loyal to the Confederacy from voting or holding public office. Most southern states opposed the amendment and refused to ratify it. So Congress made its passage a requirement for states to be readmitted to the Union. The right of citizenship came with other benefits for blacks. They could serve on juries and run for public office. They could also move freely around the country, assured that their rights would be protected in every state.
The 14th Amendment establishes finally the meaning of citizenship in the United States and the consistency of citizenship in the United States, meaning that the people born in the United States would be citizens, but also that the federal government would establish national citizenship. So someone born in Georgia and someone born in New York now have the same claim to the United States, the same claim to the government of the United States.
Okay, so when you guys saw that video and you saw them show up all these red states in the bottom, those were all the treasonous states, all the traitor states that decided that they were going to make their own country and become the Confederate, which is punishable by death, okay, because that means that you are a traitor And these are also the people who are now saying that they're going to make these laws to keep black people from being able to do certain, for them not to actually be able to vote on actual acts, bills, and establishment. Okay. So along with the 14th Amendment, it also says that you can be a slave if you break a law. Okay, this is how they were able to take black men who had just been freed from slavery and put them right back into slavery. Okay, they were like, if you don't have a job, then you can be a slave. If you break a law, then you can be a slave. If you're just outside, you can be a slave. Okay, so and before I go into that, I want to play that into. If I don't know if you guys saw that little Queen Latifah movie with Ludacris, what's it called? Did you see it? Okay. Well, they were basically running for their lives. Okay, they left California, and while they were leaving, they end up in a car. They end up going to a hotel. Somewhere in the hotel, they end up getting somebody got killed. The brother who was Ludacris, found a bag full of money. He took it. The owners of the money started looking for the money and all this additional stuff, right? And so in that, okay, there was a part where though it was some white boys in a truck and they were trying to follow them and they were trying to run them off the road, okay? She tells Ludacris is like about to get out the car. He was like, I'm about to get out the car. And she was like, no. Don't do that because they'll for sure kill you. Let me go. Let me go and be the person of reasoning in this. Let me keep them off of you, okay? And that I take that back to black women, black mothers, okay, trying to shelter their kids from the problems of the world. And I can see that back in that day of them saying, stay in the house, okay? I don't want you to go out and go get a job. I don't want you out with your friends or anything like that. Just stay in the house. I'll go work. I'll go out because I'm more safer than you are. If they find you, they're going to either kill you or put you in jail. So this becomes the passive, us being passive towards our men, okay, and wanting them not to be in the protector, okay, because they were hurting our men at this time. Okay, so in the movie, she ends up getting out. She ends up having to apologize to them for their white lives, endangering their white lives. They got a whole gun in the car and everything else. And she's out there protecting the man and her children. Okay, so the reason why I wanted to go into that is because that's what is happening today also. You know, you think about like the welfare system and how they have made that system set up where the man cannot be in the home. So you cannot receive benefits. You cannot receive any type of additional help or assistance if a man is in the home. Okay. But in the same fact, that program also puts the men on child support for like TANF or Neon. Right. And if he is put on child support and he is not paying that bill, then his driver's license is revoked. Most people need a driver's license to be able to get a job, especially if it's like a construction or anything like that. They need CDLs, things like that to be able to work. So that cripples him from being able to work. Along with crippling, now he has nowhere to go. Okay, now he's a liability to that woman because if they find him in that house, then he can damage them and they can be put out. Okay, so I just want to add that before we actually go into what's happening in Mississippi and about these additional rules and stuff that they're putting into place. Let's go ahead and go into the clip.
Now we want to bring you the original with in-depth reporting on a topic that we have been watching. Mississippi in the spotlight. The state legislature at odds over a bill creating a separate court system in the county where court officials would be appointed officials instead of elected, and nearly a fourth of Jackson would be under state control. It is the most recent example in a long history of clashes between the city of Jackson and the state of Mississippi. What will the bill look like by the time it reaches the governor's desk? Zinkley Asamoah has the story.
A new Mississippi bill is fueling controversy and protest in the state's capital. The bill is aimed at crime, the state facing a higher homicide rate than any state in the country, according to 2020 CDC data, with Jackson's homicide rate increasing 66% from 2017 to 2020, according to policy group Empower Mississippi. On Thursday, controversial elements of the bill were scrapped in the state Senate, but tensions remain. State Democrats initially calling HB 1020 racist and unconstitutional. The original State House bill expands an 8.6 square mile district in Jackson known as the Capital Complex Improvement District, or CCID, growing to over 26 square miles within the city. It also created a new court system in the district where officials would be permanently appointed by state officials and not elected by Jackson residents. And the bill moved jurisdiction from the city of Jackson's police department to the state's Capitol Police.
It's taking power away from Jackson residents, but it's really kind of creating a city within a city.
State Representative Ronnie Crudup Jr. adding the proposal may have had to do with race.
Jackson's 85% black, but a lot of our more affluent and white residents were included in this expansion of the CCID.
The House bill's author, Representative John Thomas Trey Lamar, denies allegations redistricting was due to race.
All I'm interested in is helping make the capital city of the state of Mississippi safer. That's it.
The House bill now amended in the Senate by State Senator Bryce Wiggins.
Nobody, white, black, green, or blue, will tell you there's not a crime problem in Jackson. We've got to get a hand. They and us have got to get a handle on it.
His updated bill reverses the district expansion, eliminates the proposed new court system, and requires state and city police to reach an understanding together or go back to the drawing board.
Capitol Police have always had jurisdiction over the state capitol. What the Senate bill does is extend jurisdiction of the Capitol Police Department to all of the city of Jackson, and to work with via a memorandum with the Jackson Police Department to figure out the nuances and how that works.
If the bill passes, Wiggins says the state House and Senate must come to an agreement before it reaches the governor's desk. Zincle Asamoah, NBC News.
The nerve of these people, okay? So basically what they're saying is they want to make a city, they want to make appointed people, okay? People that they get to pick, not the people. They get to pick who these people are, and they're going to basically handle certain zones of the state. Excuse me. Here in Nevada, right now we are dealing with the fact of them trying to change the zonings, okay, of our state, so they can be able to figure out if they want a secondary schools district, so they can be able to discriminate against the second school district if that school district is poor and not producing at a high development. So they would be able to legally say this school district is not reaching their potential and we're going to take funding away from them. Okay. They're dealing with that situation right now here in Nevada. So if they're going to try to do this in Mississippi, and Mississippi is almost 80% black. Okay. And I don't believe that Mississippi has had not one black governor. Where is your representation? Who are the people who are actually speaking for you? Because there should have been somebody to say, no, you're not going to just sweep our needs and the laws that we need under the rug, and it's just going to be a committee who can be able to rule on it, and they're really not ruling on it. All they're doing is I'm gonna take your suggestion, and I'm gonna take it up there with them, and we're gonna ask them, okay? And if they say no, then it's nothing that I can do, and that's what that does. Just like you go into a business, and like small businesses, they really know this. You're like, okay. Everybody always want to talk to the manager. I want to talk to the owner. I'm like, they're not here right now. Okay. And there's nothing that you can do if that person is not there. Either, what are you going to do? So this bothers me, because then you have state officials who are asking in a different state, but asking, can we bring back lynching by tree? Okay. To open his mouth with that, to be able to say, yeah, let's just bring back lynching by tree. Name one white person, if you know any. Name one white person, if you can, who had been lynched by a tree in the last 5 years. I can name about 12 black people. I can show you their pictures. What would this be for? What will be the reasoning for bringing back lynching by tree? Are you going to take it into the jail? Because I've yet to see a jail that has trees at it anyway. Okay. So where is he talking about being able to hold this lynching by tree at? Okay. So it bothers me that we have these things happening in 2023, and these are being questioned. And then my people sit there and say, well, I'm not voting because it don't make no sense for me to be voting because they don't care nothing about what I'm saying. Everything that is done locally is every person in that state's vote counts. It only does not, you only have representation when it goes to like voting for the president in national bills and things like that. But things that are happening locally, you are most definitely the most important part of this. Because that's when you're giving your answers. That's when you're saying, this is what I think, this is what's happening in my household, and this is what I want to happen. Okay. So with all this being said, I want to give some type of direction of where we can go. Okay. Some people are not going to like the video that I'm about to put on because they probably don't like the people that are in the video. But I want us to take light to the fact of what this is about. So Kanye had a discussion with Dr. Boyk, and they wanted to be able to, they were trying to figure out where to start with black wealth. I believe that this is now this is a big trend that's about to start happening, and I want you guys to take heed to what they're saying, and then how we can be how as black people in this country, in your city and state, how can you apply this to your own lives? Let's go ahead and go into the clip.
So, but we got the people right here, like Dr. Boyce. He got 1,000 teachers on speed dial. He know the black farmers on speed dial. We need the black construction workers, not just the Mexicans. The Mexicans cool, but we got black people out here with no job during the Biden administration. I didn't say administration.
Right. Okay. So basically, you know, I think that if we're doing something, I think that people want that clarity. I think we can start with that statement you sent me, build off of that, and then in fact, actually, I think that even talking about it like sooner rather than later, even if it's like virtually, you know, would work. You know what I mean? You know, so I like what you're saying. I think that I just asked, like, if you're talking about talking publicly, I'm thinking something real clear and very, you know, pro, you know, like what the things that you love and what you're going to build off of. I think it's a good way to go.
Okay, we got it. This is meant to be. Look, Nori, look at how God is using us right now. If we didn't go through this turmoil, we couldn't have came together for this. And what you're saying about all political parties, the way you worded it, yes, all political parties, that's fine, because we have a new political party today. We have a new political party today that is ensuring that no matter who gets into office, the black vote is collective. The black dollar is a collective. The black vote is a collective. The black curriculum is a collective. The black food is a collective. We need to monitor. You know how they have the shit on the side of the restaurants and Boyce, I don't know if you're recording, but I asked you to record. I was very serious about it.
What if you could?
All right. So this is a start of a movement. Okay. There has been plenty of movements moving forward. I gave a big shout out to Dr. Omar Johnson about him getting his school up and running, and that now he really needs the funding for people to start pushing in. And for everyone who doubted him, okay, you need to send that man some money so he can be able to get that school up and running, because it was a lot of backlash, and a lot of people were like, he ain't doing nothing to get that school up and running. It did take a while, but when you're dealing with a bunch of people who are going to hate on you and not help you move forward, it's going to take a while. So now that he's at the point where he has the building, the school is now being established. They're now being able to start recruiting for students and teachers and everything else. Put yourself behind something instead of always being that person to knock everything that people are doing and never having a solution for nothing. Okay. I'm not saying Kanye is the black leader. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying Dr. Boyce is the leader. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying it is time for every last one of us to start taking accountability with our people, starting with your own damn home. Okay? Be selfish in your vote and think about the things that are happening in your household. If you are not a rich person, stop trying to vote rich, thinking about what's going to happen for you later on in life. Because right now you are not in their mind frame of who they're thinking about for that bill. Think about what's happening in your house. If you are a veteran, if you are a single mother, if you are a person who is pregnant by accident, if you are a Hispanic American, if you are a black man in America, a black man in business in America, these are the things that you need to start paying attention to what's happening around you. And you need to start making sure that people understand where you stand so you can be an influence to our people to be able to move us in the right direction. The whole point of this is to go in the right direction. I don't have the game plan. I'm here to learn just like you. So let's learn together. This is the Chisholm Report, and I am Kristie J. I appreciate you guys coming in every Saturday at 10 a.m. to be able to talk this shit with me and politic with me. Let's make this a rule that you come in on Saturday and you say something and tell me something that's great that's happening in your country, that's in your city or in your community. Come in here. This is your place to give resources for other people who are looking for them. The phone number here is 702-551-5261. Make sure that you guys are supporting. This is a black business. We love you. If you see somebody out there grinding, let them know you see them shining. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you next Saturday at 10 a.m. on the Chisholm Report at hot702.5fm.com.
Time's coming. Who you gonna vote for? Yeah. If I was president, I'd get elected on Friday, assassinated on Saturday, buried on Sunday, they go back to work on Monday. If I was president, if I was president, if I was president, yeah.